What is up, guys? Kowalski here from PolarStar Airsoft, and today I have in front of me the most anticipated product of the year so far. I have PolarStar Jack. I picked this up yesterday from PolarStar Airsoft. This is the first run of the production models that they have. I've seen guys from American Milsim run Jacks, the pre-production models. I've actually been right next to Patriot Armory Jeff, who runs his Jack system as well. But this is the first one that when you purchase it from either Amped Airsoft, E-Vike, Airsoft GI, any other vendors that are out there, this is what you're going to be getting. There are slight differences between the two, but nothing that you'll really notice. So I'm going to show you everything that there is that I know about the system so far. Then I'm also going to do an install video on this Elite Force H&K 416, which was purchased from Patriot Armory. Huge shout out to those guys. Great guns, Elite Force, really cool. But now we're just gonna jack it up. I also have Elite Force 0.32 gram BBs. I'm gonna be doing some testing with those. You won't see that in the video, but just pointing out that these are the BBs that I do use. Alright, so once you get your jack, go ahead, open them up, take a look. He's glorious. As you can see here, this is Jack. You have the usual black inization on here, just like you would see on the other FEs. Very nice. Nice trademarks. On the other side, you have the PolarStar logo, and also you can have your serial number. Mine is 00014. So this comes in, obviously. You have your new FCU unit here. This is the trigger board for the Jack system. This is the version 2 trigger board, so when you order either the version 2 or version 3, those are the only two right now that Jack comes out with as the trigger board from PolarStar. So you can get these, and obviously the nozzles will be different for M4 versus AK. And also you have your usual wiring harness for the FCU to the trigger board. Go ahead and put this box out of the way. So, taking a closer look at the Jack unit, just as before, if you've ever done maintenance onto a Fusion engine itself, it's very easy to maintain. All you do is unscrew the front part here, like so, and you can pull out your nozzle. These nozzles are made from plastic, and PolarStar has made it known that if you need a custom nozzle, they can be easily made and shipped out right to you. I'm pretty sure that they will be offering these to dealerships like Amped Airsoft, Airsoft GI, Airsplat, E-Vike, wherever they're sending these to. So you'll be able to get custom nozzles for whatever awesome gun you might want to put Jack into. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in there. Close it up. Also, these solenoids, there is only one solenoid compared to two with the original FEs. This is 50 to 120 PSI compared to the 40 to 200 in the Gen 3s of Fusion engines. So there's that. Put that to the side. Okay, so looking at the new FCU, I'm just going to get a battery real quick and plug it in. So as you click in center, it goes to the safe mode, you scroll left. Here is the new firmware version. This is F100. This is the new firmware that PolarStar has created with the Jack systems. So let's see what it has to offer. You keep scrolling left, you obviously have your full auto. It still does the same. You have 1 to 9 burst, a 9-round burst, and also you have full auto. Scroll over, you have DP. From you guys who have worked on this before, DP puts the air down the nozzle. So the lower you go, less air is down the barrel. There are new settings on here. There are PE, and there is, I believe this is IS. These are settings which I'm not too familiar with at this point, but they have to do with timing. Obviously, the way this entire thing works is with timing of within milliseconds to let the air out and open and close the solenoids. RF is 18 as default. Here's a cool thing though about the new firmware. When you set the RF to a certain number, that is the amount of rounds per second that you will get. The new software behind the FCU allows it to automatically calculate timings correctly to get that rate of fire. So if you want to go above 18 or below it, or whatever, set your PolarStar jack to whatever real steel gun that you want to make it sound like. Go ahead and do it. You can absolutely do that. dB stands for electrical noise. PolarStar just says you can keep that at 0. There's not really any need to change that. Auto switch, this will be for the selector switches on the AKs if you like to change that up, or if you just want to switch for whatever reason, you only want to go have your first semi to full auto and full auto to semi, which I'm not really sure why you want to do that, but whatever floats your boat. Low battery, I've already set this to 2 because obviously I have a 2-cell LiPo battery here, and then it goes back to the firmware version. So that's pretty much it for the FCU. I'm actually not going to touch this that much after I get it installed. I might need to go through the steps to actually set the FCU to PSI and FPS output that I want. But you will also get those directions when you get your jack unit. There is one thing that you will need that does not come from PolarStar, and it is the quick disconnect fitting. Amped has these. I'm sure Evike and Airsoft GI and Airsplat have them as well, or you could probably just order them from PolarStar. So it is a 6mm hose connector, slip fitting on there, and then it goes directed to your PolarStar hose. So you can set that aside. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, so I'm going to start breaking down this 416 here. The video is going to speed up just to save you time. You don't need to watch me do this. If you don't know how to take apart your M4 already, please refer to other videos online to how to take apart an airsoft gun. Okay, so once you get your gearbox taken apart out of your body, you can begin the disassembly process of taking all the components out of your gearbox. If you do notice, this is still factory sealed from Elite Force. This gearbox has never been touched for any upgrades whatsoever. So we're gonna break that seal and let's get jack installed. Okay, so once you have the outer part of your gearbox taken apart, you can go ahead and start pulling everything out of the gearbox. The main things that you're going to want to keep is the trigger and the trigger spring, and then I'll show you when I get it out one of the screws for the the actual electrical connectors for the trigger itself. Everything else you can take out. If you do not have a VFC gearbox, which this is, you will also need to keep your spring guide, because your screw from the buffer tube actually screws into your gearbox. With these VFC bodies, the screw actually only for the buffer screws into the rear of the receiver, so you won't need to keep that part in. So go ahead, we can start taking everything out. Okay, so this is the screw here that I just took out from the trigger switch here. You want to keep this. Okay, so once you have your gearbox apart and all the components out, what you can do is clean out the grease inside, excuse me, just to clean it up and make it look nice. The grease doesn't do anything for the jack system, so just get it all cleaned up and go from there. You can keep the bushings inside. The VFC ones are pretty snug, they're not coming out, so I'm not going to worry about it. But if yours are loose, or if you put upgraded bearings in your gearbox, you can go ahead and take those out. You won't need those either. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and we'll get into the jack install. Okay, now, so the only thing that should be left now is your clean gearbox, and on your right side, you're going to keep your selector plate and also your the safety latch here. This is the only thing that will stay within the gearbox. Alright, so from here, we're going to take the triggers mechanism, the trigger switch here that came with jack, and we're going to install that. You're going to take that screw and tighten it down onto the board. Be careful with this because it is a micro switch board. It's a little bit fragile, so just be careful when you're installing it. We're gonna go ahead and plop them in right there. Pull lines up. You don't need to over tighten this, just make it snug so it's not going anywhere. That is really all you need to do. So up on the other side, you can see the selector plate is hitting the full auto switch, so you're good to go. Alright, so next we're going to put jack actually inside here. What you're going to do is within the gearbox itself and on jack, there are little notches. You're going to line those notches up so he won't move around. Go ahead and place him in there. Just like that. He's not going to move anywhere. You can route your line down through where the pinion gear would come, normally on the AEG. And you're going to take this line, I'll get that later. You're going to take this line and plug it into this small port down here. Just get in there, a nice little click, and kind of just have the wires hang back. Yeah, that's gonna be nice. You can also notice when I install the wiring harness that this is designed for rear wired. I'm sure if you got crafty enough, you can make it, bend and go towards out the front, or if you are already running the wiring harness in your FCU and your grip, you can go that way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and install this now. This goes into the bigger slot on the trigger board, just like so, and we're just going to run that. Actually, I want to run this. Yeah, I'll run it over. So it's going to look just like that when you're done. Now, depending on this trigger, some gearboxes, the triggers like to pop out if you don't keep pressure on them. So we're going to see how this goes. Just put your trigger in as normal. So get the spring side in first. It falls out on me. Okay, so once you have your trigger in place, this one's not going anywhere, so you don't have to worry about it springing up at you. We can go ahead and put the shell on top. Just make sure that this line gets routed down here and your actual data wire is this way. So we can go ahead and close this shell up. Just like so. It's not going anywhere. Safety works, and I can feel the trigger switch. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws back into the gearbox shell, and we'll do a little test fire real quick just to make sure everything's functioning right, and then we'll begin to put it back into the 416 body. Okay, so there we have it. I got jack installed in here. It's not moving at all. All the connections look good. The gearbox looks pretty well sealed. So I'm gonna hook this up real quick to some air and just make sure it's functioning properly. I'll take my fitting off of here that comes with it. Put this one on. Grab the battery and FCU. So it's on full auto. I'll switch it to shot. I'll plug up some air. There's single. Got a nice crisp sound to it. And you have full auto. Very nice. Alright, put this aside. Disconnect the FCU. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and drop this back into the 416 body. So you can grab your lower, same as always. Make sure this cable goes out the back here, like so. And then your air line is going to go down towards your pistol grip. Make sure your rear pin is out of the way. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put the center pin here back in first, just to keep it from moving. Nice little tap. And make sure when you push in your rear pin here, you can actually look in here and you can see the data, the wiring cable here kind of gets in the way, so you can kind of just push it back in and it will bend down, and then you can go ahead and push your the rear body pin through just like that. So I can already tell safety works, single, and obviously full auto. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the selector or the mag catch back in. So that's in. I'm gonna put the fake bolt catch release back in. The VFC gearboxes come with a functioning bolt catch. I took that piece off because I'm going to actually take the fake bolt out of the upper receiver so that you can see the jack logo when actually playing. Alright, so once you have this done, you're gonna put your pistol grip back in. Okay, so once you have your pistol grip back on, nice and snug, we can go ahead and put the buffer tube back on. If you have a sling plate here. I believe the 416s do come with this. Make sure the cable goes through here. And it's going to sit up inside just like that. So it's going to bend out a little bit. Then we're going to take our buffer tube here, put that over top just like that, and our screw and everything, and just drop that down there. So once you get your buffer tube reattached, we can go ahead and put the FCU into the buffer tube. Okay, so now this is all assembled in the lower. We can go ahead and reassemble the upper. Real quick, I'm also going to give a shout out to Fox Custom Airsoft. I have a Fox Custom 300mm 6.02 inner barrel in this. It's also configured with an R-hop. R-hop has been one of the best things I've ever done for my barrel setups, and I've been slowly working them into the rest of our team guns. So I will now have a PolarStar jack with a R-hop barrel. I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble this. Before I do though, I am going to take out the fake bolt catch that's in here, because I want to see the PolarStar jack emblem. I'll do that real quick. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and assemble the barrel now with the fake bolt out. Pull out your front pin. Slide this over top. Alright, and there you have it. Now have a Elite Force H&K 416 with PolarStar jack installed. Minus the stock, we can put the 416 stock back on. So there you go. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this out, test it a little bit, just to see what I can get FPS wise. These jack systems are highly efficient from what I've heard from PolarStar, so expect very good air efficiency when using this system once you guys get it. I will also be outfitting this gun to be used at Operation X, which is hosted by Lion Claw's Milsim series. That is next weekend. So me, myself, and the rest of our teammates will be there. I'll make sure that written on this gun is TOA, and also on the other side I'll write big red letters Jack. So if players are there and you kind of recognize who we are, you can come out and check out the gun, see how it shoots, and we'll have a good time there. But PolarStar jack production model will be there at Operation X. So until then, if you guys have any more other questions, or if you want to know more information, just comment below, and I'm pretty good with responding. So anything you want to ask us about the system, or just airsoft in general, let us know. So till then, Kowalski out.